Good evening, everyone. It's 5:15, time for our regular meeting of the Carroll City Council. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Checking the roll call, all members of the council are here with the exception of Kyle Bauer, who's not available this evening. And moving on, we have a newly appointed Carroll County Assessor. Her name is Sarah Haberl, and she's excited about her new job, and we're excited to meet her this evening. So please come on up, Sarah. Introduce yourself and tell us how you're going to fix the county.
There's not much to fix.
I'm glad there's not. Good. Yeah. I'm glad. So go ahead.
All right. Thank you guys for having me. Like I said, my name is Sarah Haberl. I am the new Carroll County Assessor. And being the assessor, the conference board is my boss, which is comprised of mayors from each city, city council, and the board of supervisors. And obviously everybody. So they represent everybody. But I just wanted to come and say hi. And if you had any questions, I currently do live here in Carroll. I've lived in Carroll since 2016 and just excited.
We look forward to lower assessments.
Well, I mean, I can't guarantee anything.
Okay.
Did you get your tax assessment today?
Did I? No.
I did.
We're going to skip his question.
Sarah, thanks.
From here, though.
Thanks so much for coming in, and we're glad you're here. We're glad you're on board, and it sounds like you have a positive attitude and you're ready to tackle any challenges that come your way.
Perfect.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda for approval of the consent agenda, which includes approval of the minutes from the July 22nd, 24 meeting, approval of bills and claims. There are no licenses and permits this week. Approval of the amended fiscal year 2023-24 transfers resolution. Approval of infill housing incentive applications. And approval of the fiscal year 2025 outside agencies funding agreement resolutions, which are in all of our texts. Is there any questions about anything on the consent agenda? If not, I'd look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Jason approved and seconded by Tom. And roll call vote, please.
Dirks?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Bordenero?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any oral requests this evening? Anyone is welcome to come up, and members of the public that wish to address the council this evening, can take a few minutes if you wish. Seeing none, we'll move on to ordinances. There are no ordinances this evening. However, we have a fair number of resolutions, so we'll move on to that. And Resolution A, which is the CBD Street Resurfacing 2024. And Randy, I believe you have information on this
Thank
for
you,
us.
Mayor. We have prepared a proposed amendment number 2 to the consulting services agreement for the CBD Street Resurfacing project. The amendment adds construction services to the consulting contract. The scope of the contract is certainly detailed in that document. In summary, it's construction administration, testing and coordination, resident project representation, and then project closeout. The estimated fees are $67,800, and those fees will be billed on an hourly basis, with that being the estimate. That brings the total consulting contract with McClure Engineering Company for the project to $330,000. And the timeline for performing is the construction period for that project by November 1st, 2024. Unless there are any questions, I'd recommend your consideration of passage and approval of the resolution approving the consulting services agreement amendment with McClure for the CBD Street Resurfacing project at an estimated hourly fee of $67,800.
Not an estimated hourly fee. The estimated total fee.
Yes, on an hourly basis.
Oh,
I was like 67 grand.
That's inflation for you.
If I could run out
Yeah.
here, go to engineering.
Just never quits.
I'd go back and get my engineering degree, I think.
If there are no questions about this, I'd look for a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Tom and Jason seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Atherton?
Yes.
Wardenaro?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirk?
Yes.
Schreck?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
All right, thank you very much. And then we'll move on to CBD street resurfacing 2024. This is the construction materials testing proposal, and Randy.
Thank you, Mayor. For the same project, we have prepared a construction materials testing proposal with certified testing services. This proposal is for testing concrete work in the project. Soils testing is a bid item, in fact, 2 bid items in the contract. So they'll be paid by the contractor, and you'll be paying the contractor those. The estimated cost is $6,200 to $7,100. Actually, that'll be billed on per trip, per cylinder cast, and then per report. So it's just an estimate again of the fees. Performance again with this is completion by November 1st of 2024. Unless there are any questions, I'd recommend your consideration of passage of the resolution approving the construction materials testing with certified testing services with an estimated fee of $6,200 to $7,100.
And Randy, the estimate is by you, correct? That's 6,200, or is that?
That was worked out with certified testing.
Okay. Any other questions on this? If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve as presented by Randy,
So moved.
Second.
Tom, and Jason. Roll call vote, please.
Schreck? Yes. Wardenaro?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirk?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
All right, thank you. Next resolution is the 12th Street Reconstruction Consulting Services Agreement, and Randy again.
Thank you, Mayor. We have prepared a proposed consulting services agreement with McClure Engineering for the initiation of the 12th Street Reconstruction Project. If you'll recall, that reconstruction project is on 12th Street from West Street to Grant Road. So it's anticipated to be reconstruction of all municipal utilities and then full depth paving removal and replacement. The scope is comprehensive for this project. It is a partially federal funded project, which adds to the scope of services necessary to comply with the federal aid requirements of the funding. I've summarized the tasks in the scope in your memorandum, totaling $571,100. The timeline includes starting immediately and project letting December 16th of 2025. That complies with the federal grant award that we've received. Capital improvement plan projected a total project cost of $4.5 million. Several funding sources are added together to get to that point. And following that plan preparation, the city's stormwater management plan was reviewed in more detail. And for the purposes of flood reduction, the stormwater management plan recommends the addition of a 12 by 10 reinforced concrete box culvert at the 12th Street Drain 77 crossing. That addition is estimated to be about a $700,000 addition to that $4.5 million original estimate. And that amount is proposed to be funded from the road use tax fund. So unless there are any questions, I'd recommend your consideration of passage of the resolution approving the consulting services agreement with McClure for the 12th Street project at a lump sum fee of $571,100.
Have any questions for this? Okay, go ahead.
The 2 million GO, do we have stuff coming off about that time that we put this on?
I'm not sure, but we definitely would work with Suzanne. I think this has been in our plan
Yes.
all along.
It's been in the plan.
Yeah, I was
So
just wondering.
it's part
It's
of,
already factored in.
Yeah.
Part of our
Okay.
budget.
it's part of the bonding
Just
plan.
curious if
Yep,
something's coming off.
probably would be my answer.
That would restructure the debt, knowing that this is coming in so that we can maintain the
Okay.
debt
Yeah.
service levy at a dollar.
My concern, maintaining that debt service levy
The
rate.
answer is probably.
Okay. That's for a vote down the road too, I can see.
Yep,
Yes.
that would still be voted. Yep.
Okay, any other questions? Okay,
Second.
all right, it's got Tom and Jason, and a roll call vote, please, for this.
Atherton?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Rondero?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes,
Shrek? Yes. Resolution is approved.
All right, Randy, keep working here. Now we go to roof replacement project consulting services agreement.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay,
On May 7th of 2023, a hailstorm damaged several city facilities. An adjuster contracted by ICAP did review city facilities and placed a value on the damage to those. Yeah, I've attached an Exhibit A, which is the ICAP exhibit of project loss. In summary, they established a replacement cash value and then reduced that by the depreciation that they determined for an actual cash value. And then there is a deductible, $5,000 deductible on our policy. So the net that has been received by check, $561,595.16. We have, as a staff, have reviewed the damaged buildings, and there are 5 of them that we recommend not be repaired. Those are lined out on the Exhibit B. So that those 5, with everything else repaired, the city will recoup part of the depreciation on the repaired buildings in the amount of about $78,000. So the total that we would expect from insurance reimbursement would be $639,564.79. Also in this year's budget, there is included roof replacement on the water treatment plant and the high service pump station. So we have added those to this project to make a fully roofing replacement project. In discussion with a few contractors, there are contractors capable of performing all of this type of work. There will be certainly asphalt shingle type replacement. There is some steel roof replacement, and then the 2 water related roofs are membrane roofs. So it's the whole gamut of roof replacement in this project. We have developed a consulting services agreement with McClure Engineering Company for this roof replacement. That scope of services includes preparation of bidding documents through construction administration of this project. The scope of services is detailed in the agreement, and the net total lump sum fee in this agreement is $54,000. Project timeline includes beginning immediately and substantial completion of the work, construction work, by May 23rd of 2025. So unless there are any questions, I'd recommend your consideration of passage of the resolution approving the consulting services agreement with McClure for the roof replacement at a lump sum fee of $54,000.
That's one of the question is, so anytime we like change a roof, we need to go to engineering as well? Like the building was built by engineers to begin with. Now we're just.
In this
I
project,
mean, I can see building a building and having to get engineers and all that involved. I mean, smacking some new shingles on it. And
In this project, the main reason I'm recommending a consulting services agreement is the steel roofs. They are a little bit complicated, probably beyond our expertise of setting up a contract for those roofs. And they're located, in fact, all of the roofs at the airport are steel roofs. And that's about the majority of the cost of the replacements.
okay.
So, this damage was a year ago. Is there anything that permanent that was done other than the roof itself? I mean, there's leakage, nothing that's been going on here for a year?
No, there has been no leakage in any of the buildings as a result of it.
And you've seen these yourself, I assume.
They were
They're clearly
reviewed.
damaged. Anybody else have any questions for Randy? I will look for a motion to approve the McClure Engineering Company roof replacement project at a lump sum fee of $54,000. Will there be a motion for that?
So,
Second.
All right, it's Laverne and Carolyn. Roll call vote, please.
Ordinary,
yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Shrek, yes. Dirk,
Yes.
Atherton.
Yes.
Resolution approved.
All right, Randy, you can take a break now for a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll move on to reports. And the first report is City of Carroll renovations at Merchants Park Project, change order number 1. And Chad.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, change order, everyone's favorite word. Thankfully, this is just something that's mainly cosmetic. Just giving the council an option if they wanted to look at saving some money on this project. This would be.
Sorry, it's too early.
But this is part of the project that's been identified by staff and engineers that could be cut out. It could be either just pushed down the road, done at another time. Eventually, it could or could not be, it doesn't need to be done. It does help with a little bit of the slowing of corrosion. But again, it's a lot of cosmetic needs. So just leaving it up to you. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
What is the thought of, I mean, I see some of our baseball guys here. What's your guys' thought, I guess, on it, as whether we should do it or not do it, or?
Everybody but Barry.
Yeah, everybody go there.
Yes, you can come on up.
Could that be shown as inappropriate?
Not at this time.
I'd say before you another time.
He's been trying to get impeached for a while now. It's not working.
He's been working on that, so
I just
go ahead and
love-
introduce yourself and
I'm
let us
Barry
know.
Bruner. I'm the president of the board of directors of the Carroll Athletic Association. That's pitching in funds, and I appreciate Jason asking for our opinion on it. I at first, when I saw it, it worried me. Those are 75 years old. We have the contract with the State Baseball Association coming up. We wanted to make as good an impression as we could on those people so we could hang on to that tournament. That's been a great, great, great tournament. I understand the cosmetic part of it. I'm amazed that the engineers have found those towers to be in darn good shape, right, Chad? I mean, it just, for 75 years of steel. I think it's something that should be done, but I think we might be able to get it done for a little bit less later on in the next year or so. Either that, or Tom has volunteered, he has a 30-foot ladder that he is willing to start on Mondays
Go hold my
painting.
paint bucket, I'll be there for you.
Well, that's what I do,
Okay.
yeah, that's the kind of councilman you are.
And you're holding the ladder, right?
Holding the ladder.
Yeah. That's the
I'll be there
important
filming.
Yeah, get somebody there to film it.
So you think
he's-
that it's eventually gonna need to be done, so if
Yeah,
this is
I
something
think
that, if
it-
it's in
I
the
think-
budget already, we should probably just do it if it's in the budget already.
ideally, but if there's a real problem, I think there's a lot of financing that, and people that are still interested. I hope we could knock things down some, but it needs to be done at some point soon, however you want to do it financially.
So
So that's
If we're
my
gonna do
thought.
it down the road, you're gonna have to start all over, bringing people in and all that but they're there now.
That's what worried me a little bit, and I went down and talked to Scotty this afternoon. I said, are you gonna have, if we wait on this, are you gonna have to tear up sod and so forth to get the trucks and things? And he said, no. He has to do it now for the dugouts and stuff, but
Did he offer an opinion on the lights to you, on the stands of the lights himself?
I think,
Everybody'd
That's
love to
kind-
have it done, I get that.
yeah,
but-
everyone would love to have it done,
Right,
But
but,
we've already approved this, correct?
it's
It's
already,
in there.
yeah.
Yeah, it's in the money part of it. They're just trying to
So-
recoup some of the money.
can we just make a motion to
Oh, hang
keep
on.
it in there? Oh.
So what
We
you
wouldn't
want
have
to
to
do
do
is not make a motion at all and just let the motion, let
Chad,
this
is this a
change order
different-
die.
Is this a different crew that's
Okay.
gonna be doing that, just this?
Yes, correct,
Okay, so they could be doing it while the other crews are working.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
In fact, I think there was talk about sharing some of the lift equipment.
There you go.
I think it can be done along
You can
Chad's
stand up, I'm
lines.
okay
I
with
think
that.
if it's already in there,
Okay.
we've approved it, let it ride and just be done.
And with
Had that
Tom's
myself
help,
before, so.
again,
No,
I
this gets
think
me out of
it's.
Monday, so I say go ahead and just let it.
But thank
right,
you.
thank you.
I think it'll get done. We'll get it just outside this contract and probably for cheaper.
Well, I think we're thinking about continuing it as is and having it go through, is that right? Since it's already in there, is that?
Already in.
Be if
So
there's
we
a
don't need to
motion,
take
that's
action
what
of
it
this
would
As we
stay
get
in,
closer, and it
so.
seems more and more like they are, that was my biggest concern, is they're not. Now it seems like they're coming, but the money's there, let's just do it. That was my whole big hang up from the
What's your-
start was.
what's your
So,
contingency
I know it's
on
not official, but it's,
Yeah.
80
there's,
what?
yes.
80,000 for the project.
80,000
for
contingency.
Okay,
Yeah.
In fact,
Now we can
we're
pay
about
for it,
6%.
because they keep coming back.
Yeah,
Okay.
get it on.
Thank you.
well, maybe every 75 years, a good paint job is necessary, so.
I think so too.
All right,
See
well,
you in
thank you very
75
much
years,
for
Barry, when you need something else.
All right, so we'll take no action on that, Chad, is that correct? You understand that that means it goes forward?
That's fine.
Okay,
Yay.
all right. Next report is on certificate of completion for minimum improvements of 220 West 7th Street, Hoyt Mansion, and Aaron.
Thank you. Yes, we received a letter from the developers at the Hoyt Mansion, or the Villa as it's called now, stating that they have completed their minimum improvements. I walked through the villa with Mr. Atherton and had he showed me his improvements and the investment that they've made to the building. I feel comfortable that they have met their requirements or their minimum of investment, and would recommend that the council approve the certification of completion so that we could start to certify the debt through our urban renewal area and start our obligations for the 15-year agreement to pay the $250.
The 250, okay.
Yep.
And it's over 15 years, when would it start? What, the
First,
15 years starts
If
when?
we certify in December, that we would need next fiscal year to collect, and then we could make our first payment in June, which is actually a year ahead of what the development agreement states.
Okay. Any other discussion?
If anyone hasn't got through it, I think we're gonna have an open house, September 15th. Too, so you're more than welcome to, stop by and,
Well, I'll comment, I've been in it, it's nice,
been in it,
looks
so.
great, so, but I didn't look too far in, but I know you put a lot of work into that, and
you get
good
a
for
little
you.
rowdy, Jerry, we only let you through the doorstep to look around.
Okay. So I'll look for a motion to approve the
Certificate of
development
completion.
certificate of completion on White Mansion, 220 West 7th Street.
And I'll abstain from this vote, obviously.
Okay, that's fine, so we'll need a motion from Tom, and is there a second?
JJ.
JJ seconded, and roll call vote, please.
Ordinary,
Yes.
Dirk,
Yes.
Schreck. Yes. Seaman.
Yes,
Motion approved.
Do you not have to ask and have him abstain, or is that already, that's okay to do it that way? That's fine, great, okay. See you on the 15th.
Might let you in, Jerry.
Okay.
We got nice stuff in there. We don't like breaking it.
I could. I'm known for dropping things. Okay, let's see, our next one is on water distribution main replacements, 2023 change order. And we are back to Randy.
Thank you, Mayor. During construction of the water main improvement project, it was discovered that the alignment of the existing water main was not as it was planned to be, and it required a couple of fittings to connect the existing water main to the new water main that was under construction. The cost of those fittings was $1,000, and that brings the total contract price to $524,910. Unless there are any questions, I'd recommend your consideration approval of the change order in the amount of $1,000.
Second, that's the cheapest conversation we had all day.
All right, we got
Randy?
Tom and Jason seconded it. Roll call vote, please.
Dirks?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Schreck? Yes. Bordenhour?
Yes.
All right, very good, thank you. And our next report is on the West Gulfview subdivision request for proposals, or RFP, and Aaron.
Thank you. Yes, as back on the 24th of June, we approved the preliminary and final plats for the subdivision. So the next step is to put the project out for proposal to see what developers are willing to do and wanting to do with this project. So the request is to approve the request for proposal and move forward with that.
Any questions or discussions
This
for
is just
Aaron?
a general kind of proposal. There's no cost or anything like that in there. I know. I've
Well,
got a
that's
couple
part
emails.
of, part of what we're looking for in the proposal. What are the, it talks about what are you willing to pay for the ground? What are you willing to do for the infrastructure? What is your plan for housing? So all of those things are encompassed in the proposal itself that they need to provide to us.
Okay. Is there a reason why we didn't put a price on it? Just, I've had numerous emails asking me why there was. Is it just?
Wanted a general idea what
idea.
what they want to do, what they're willing to do.
Okay.
The benefit of going this route is we're allowed to accept any proposal, but we're also allowed to decline all proposals.
Okay.
So it doesn't really cost us anything.
Other than publication, correct.
There's been a lot of people in here talking about it, so hopefully some of these people,
We'll see.
they show up.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the RFP for West Gulfview subdivision?
I think Mark has something.
Did you have?
Oh, no,
You're
I'll
okay?
I'll make the
And
motion.
someone else had a
That's fine.
question?
I think Mark had something to say.
Come on up, Mark.
Yep, sorry. All in all, I kind of like the framework of it all, just for my humble opinion, my unsolicited opinion. But I was curious as to why there wasn't at least, I know why you wouldn't put a price on it, but why would there not be a minimum price on it? There was on the last two city-owned properties, the Nealon property and then the one that Kyle bought. I kept on looking for a minimum bid on there. We know we've got $111,000 invested in this thing already. We know the price of 4.5 acres. I would think that a minimum price would be appropriate, but just curious as to what the rationale was behind it.
Would there be a difference between this and the last two proposals that we've gone through that would make it this way? Although that, as I see it, it's a larger, but.
Yeah, I guess I would say the Gulfview subdivision is a large property with infrastructure and housing, whereas these other properties were smaller. We knew exactly what we'd put into it to recoup because we took over the properties per se.
Okay.
So I guess,
We knew exactly what we had invested. We don't.
well, we do to an extent, but we don't know what those developers are gonna request from us as far as infrastructure or anything like that. Are they going to request infrastructure costs from us? They might not. So I don't know.
I just thought it was because of our land. We own the land. That's how I took it. That's my only reasoning that
Yeah.
I didn't question it because of that.
Meaning, we, the taxpayers, own the land?
Yeah.
And so it's got a value to it.
Yeah,
Right.
but if they don't meet that value, then, you know, obviously.
Yeah, and you've got the right to refuse that, I
Yeah,
get that,
yeah.
but you also had the right to refuse the other ones that had a price on it. So,
I guess
yeah, I
I
won't
wasn't
debate it,
concerned, I
but,
guess, myself.
okay,
I
I
know.
mean, we have the right to or not to, so.
okay.
Yeah. And you mentioned in your memo, you worked with Dave. Dave, you've worked with all these other properties that were mentioned. And your rationale pretty much reinforces Aaron's thoughts then that we own the property. It's not like having an assessed value like the home, you know, the apartments, et cetera. It was a whole apples to oranges is how I think about it. And we have nothing to lose. I thought leaving it open gave us great flexibility when we make our final decision.
And
Is that
Carolyn,
what you were
I think you
thinking?
hit the nail on the head as far as leaving it open. I think there's benefits to that.
And
No,
so
just-
that's why yeah.
So the general consensus was it wouldn't behoove us to put any kind of minimum on there. That's my understanding then, so.
Okay.
Okay,
All
and then just.
Okay, go ahead.
It says in there that the proposals have to include a description of the completion of the infrastructure. But is it clear to the bidders that there is no infrastructure there currently?
Well, the water's there, isn't it, Randy?
Sorry, yeah,
Water.
I'm sorry, but the sewer and the hookup, yeah,
Curb and gutter.
right.
But the water needs a lift, doesn't it?
No, that's sewer.
That's sewer.
Or sewer leads in, okay.
Okay, so the word completion would mean in order to make it suitable for housing then, okay. And then, yeah, I think that completes
Okay.
my questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mark.
Yep, thank you.
I'll make the motion.
One thing, I'm sorry, I
Go
just
ahead.
want to add, I thought it was really good, and maybe you do this, you know, with other properties, but not contingent on financing. They're ready to go. I like that part of your request for proposals notice. As you read through it, I think the expectations are clear.
And Mark, yeah, there's a whole lot of questions that need to be asked as these things come in, and I think that we'll address them as they come in to make sure that, yes, so.
Anyone else? Any questions? All right, well, I'll look for a motion to approve the our request for proposals and proposal form for the West Gulfview subdivision.
So moved.
Carolyn and Laverne seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Dirk,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Bornero,
Yes.
Atherton.
Yes.
Greg.
Yes.
Motion is
Okay, thank you. All right, next one is T-Mobile Water Tower Attachment Lease Agreement. And I think we're back to Randy again here, correct?
Yes.
Go ahead, Randy.
It is. Thank you, Mayor. T-Mobile is one of two cell companies that occupy the water tower and have the ground-mounted equipment at the water tower site. T-Mobile is now proposing to add a generator on the ground to their equipment at the site. The lease attachment agreement does permit for generators to be included in the ground-mounted equipment. T-Mobile has proposed an acknowledgement of notice of the work for your consideration, and I would recommend that you acknowledge the work, and we'll return that to T-Mobile.
I have a question. This is on a generator. I guess I'm kind of naive on it, which is where?
Well, the generator will be placed on the ground there. On
Okay,
the
it's
east
down
side-
on the ground inside the fence.
Yep, on the east side of the tower, there is an area for ground-mounted equipment, their electrical equipment, a portion for T-Mobile, portion for US Cellular. and T-Mobile wants to add their generator within that fenced portion there.
Okay. Is there any written agreement if we ever need those generators for something in a disaster? Is there some use for those that, is there any discussion as to whether there would be any ability to use them for something if there was a problem in the area?
There has been no discussion of that.
Is it worth talking to them about that?
Well, this is a permanently mounted generator.
Correct, but to be able for us to use it, let's say that there's electricity out in that area for 10 days. I mean, I don't know how strong this is, but.
I think
I mean, is
that'd be a Mid-American discussion.
Okay,
That, you know, because I don't believe Mid-American allows you to generate electricity back into their system. You know, I would.
just something that came up when I just thought about it when I was reading this, and I wondered if
Sure.
there's anything like that, or if we're missing something that should be discussed, so,
Sure.
okay?
How big is this?
48 kW.
Is it loud?
It'll have a muffler and it'll only be used during emergencies. That we did discuss with T-Mobile. It's not to be used as a continual running.
That's just me
piece.
looking forward to we put this thing in and then we know what happens from there. We know what happens from there, so.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah, they make noise, 48 kW generator.
but they're only using, this is just for an emergency use or whatever?
Yes.
Okay.
To approve it?
Consideration acknowledgement. of notice.
So yeah, we need to acknowledge.
Thank you. I was
Okay, we
wondering,
need to
looking
motion to
every day, this
acknowledge.
thing's running in somebody's backyard. and-
Exactly. Same thing we asked, you bet.
Okay.
All right, if no other questions there for Randy, we will need a motion to acknowledgement of notice of the T-Mobile proposed work.
So moved.
Second,
Laverne and Jason seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Atherton?
yes.
Wardenaro?
Yes.
Dirk?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Strack? Yes. Motion is approved.
All right, thank you. Next one we have here today is the water tanker fire truck purchase. And Dan,
Thank you, Mayor. On July 19th, we accepted proposals for a new water tank fire truck. They were received and opened. The truck will be replacing a 1982 tanker that has an 1,800 gallon tank on it. One of the issues that we have come into with this truck that's been here for 40 years is that it is a manual 2-speed shifting transmission. And we are
Two-speed.
running into not having volunteers that know how to drive it. So,
I don't know how to cure that, but.
it's
I
got
don't know what
two gears is all it has?
Yeah.
That's it.
so it,
You just move it from one to the other. It just,
yeah, something
Okay.
like that. So I mean, and we've had several instances in the last couple of years where we have to wait for one of the older guys to show up so they can drive it, because literally people don't know how to drive straight sticks anymore.
wow.
So that is kind of the age and the manual transmission of the truck is kind of why it is brought, so we can upgrade that truck. The bids there were in your memo, and the low bid was at Toynes for a Freightliner chassis for $393,830 with a build time of 775 days. And you can see the other bids, the other one was for an international chassis, which was 1,050 days. And then through Feld's with a Freightliner chassis was 800 days, to get that truck there. So, the other stipulation that we had gotten was the production year of that truck and the engine of that truck. If they were to start building, if they ran out of this year's engine, there could be upcharges for the next emissions test. Dale Gerner is here from Toynes. We had talked about switching brands and motors, but one of the stipulations with another motor was that there's nobody in town that's certified to work on them, so then it creates another issue, so it kind of leaves us with the Cummins motor, which they can service locally.
That's the Freightliner chassis then.
That's a Freightliner chassis, yeah.
So
We
then-
looked at the international one, but again, you're talking 1,050 days, you're almost adding another year to the time frame to get the to get the truck after that. We currently have the two tankers. One's a 3,000 gallon tanker and this is an 1,800 gallon tanker. We use this truck generally, they both roll for any rural fire or grass fires. We utilize this one to go out in the fields to help with the other two grass rigs when we're fighting a fire, whether it even be a tractor or a baler or whatever else that could be on fire out in the field. So we keep a smaller gallonage tank on there so we're able to drive through the fields and get out to those. So that's kind of the purpose of replacing it, is so we're able to continue on attacking those fires. This 82 truck is not a pump and run truck, which means we can't have the pump on and drive the truck. The truck has to be sitting still and then pump. The new one will have a pump on the side that is separate from the truck, and we'll be able to pump and roll and move the truck as we go. So that'll be an added feature to that one. The current truck also carries two 1,500 gallon, I think they're 1,500 gallon tanks in the upper racks. So usually takes about 6 guys to lift it, and then you slide it into the truck. The new truck would have, like our 3,000 gallon tanker, it's an apparatus where the tank sits in it. You hit a button and it down folds it and lifts it to standard height, and then you can deploy them from there. And that will have both 2 tanks, one on each side of that truck for replacement of those. So it'll help with the safety of not somebody getting hurt with trying to lift those tanks around on the trucks.
There's no doubt something 40 years newer is going to have some improvements, obviously.
It'll probably have some improvements on it, yeah.
You were gonna say something else. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
JJ had asked me to give her some counts on the usage of our tankers. Last year, those tanks were used, or those trucks ran 12 times for 12 fires. 22, they were used 14 times, and so far this year, we've used it 6 times. Last year, we did not have any mutual aid agreements, meaning with surrounding communities needing our help to fight fires. We've had one this year already, and in 22, we were utilized by 6 other departments for our water to transport. And usually when we transport for other departments too, we run both trucks usually too when you're wanting water.
So where does a 1982 truck go from here when it's not here anymore?
Trade-ins are at a premium, from what I've been told. So literally, even in the next year when we were to get our new rescue, they don't take trade-ins. So as a city, we'll have to try to sell it off on our own, like a concealed bid or whatever.
It seems to me if you have to wait 2-3 years for a new one, and somebody has a damaged truck for some reason, they're gonna be kind of desperate, even though it's not as good, that there must be some value to these.
Conversation I had today was roughly.
Dale, you want to come on up here and give us your insight on this? Thank you very much. Introduce yourself and then go ahead, and if you have anything to say first, otherwise I'll have a
Dale
question.
Turner. I'm a Midwest Regional Rep for Twine Fire Apparatus in Breda, Iowa. As far as tanker, the years of 40 years old, the 5 and a 2 transmission, it's probably going to be sold privately to a farmer. Maybe Jason's relation needs some more down there.
Oh, okay. That does make, I get that.
They bought the last one, I think.
Okay.
But, or a lawn service company sometimes buy them, tree people buy them. They haul water, they can.
Racetracks,
Racetracks, right, that's another out for them, Tom. Your rescue truck will sell like that. That'll bring very good money.
And I've already had a couple of departments come and
I've
look at that
been
one already.
giving, I've been sending people Dan's way already on that, and they're just waiting.
Does somebody refurbish then those
No,
things?
this
for
thing
they're just
will.
as is?
It'll
Okay.
go to a smaller town.
Okay,
I don't want to name names, but I know one town's just biting at the bit to buy it, so.
all right. Let's talk about any concerns we should have on the no
Engine.
guarantee on the engine
Okay,
increase in value or price.
I was talking to our Freightliner people, on this engine, and supposedly we have slots. We got an additional 40 slots coming for next year. And I have your truck in that if it gets approved, okay? I think if it was a surcharge, it'll be minimum, it won't be enormous, okay?
That changed the days?
No, we got you in, lower days because of that. So, we know your chassis, what he told me, he won't put it in writing, but he told me he has a slot for us in the 2025 build year, which is next year, which beats the 2070 emission engine.
Meaning, what does that? Okay.
Okay. 2070 emissions, EPA has established a new level of emissions that all these motors have to meet. I think you guys went through it last month with your street department trucks. This is basically the same thing, but we're getting some slots, for it, so.
So you're saying there's no mechanics around that can work on those new emission
On the
trucks?
Detroit.
They can work on it, but everything is software driven, so there's nobody in Carroll that
Nobody
is
has the software.
certified.
So would
thing.
they be in 775 days, would there be somebody around that would?
I would bet not,
I would bet not, he's also here.
yeah,
It's on the
Kim shaking his head
different
too.
motor too.
Yeah, I know, but geez, that's
yeah.
thinking.
But the
775.
Cummins, you currently have all Cummins engines.
All the other trucks have Cummins
Are
motors
Cummins
now.
engines, and local people are certified for Cummins, have all the software, stuff like that, so.
So this truck is gonna replace the primary truck we have now, correct?
No, an 82.
So the two tankers that we have, we'll call them, I'll say they're both primary when we had a rural fire, because they both roll at every rural fire. Whether it's a grass fire, structure fire, or for mutual aid, they both roll at the same. One right now has 3,000 gallons on it, and the 82 has 1,800 gallons on it.
Well, wouldn't it behoove us, and maybe I'm crazy, to just buy like even a more expensive one that is a primary? So that way we had a new truck and then we had an 11-year-old backup. Does that make sense? Now we have an 11-year-old primary and we have a brand new backup. Like if we waited like a year or something and just bought, that way you'd have two trucks within 12 years of each other. Does that make sense to you, Dan?
But this is just a water truck.
I think what they're trying to do, Jason, is get one lighter, right? That's just take a field fire where they're out, they could be in the middle of a section, some sections are 2 miles. It's tough to maneuver a 3,000 gallon vehicle.
You wouldn't take a 3,000 gallon
Right.
vehicle
Oh,
off
so
the
this is
road.
a smaller one. Okay.
This is 2,000.
That's
so
a 2,000 gallon
And this
tank.
one can get back in the field, so those
sorry
small
about that.
trucks have 250, 300 gallons of water, and they're running back and forth, and it's nice to have a tanker out in the middle where they can just come up and hook and fill and go.
That makes sense. I thought it was crazy. I was like, man, you could have two new,
What
10-year-old
happens
trucks.
is if you're in a field fire, the big tanker usually sits on the road by a gateway.
Yep.
And the 4x4 units that are out there chasing the fires, putting it out, are out in the field, which only have 500 gallons on them. And the department just upgraded with our dance money. We changed one of the other tanks that was only 300. We upgraded to a 500, so they both have the same gallonage now. And those trucks go to these tankers and they quick fill them up and then they send them back out in the field.
And
The
one
other
of the-
one, the smaller one that we have now is usually out in the field with those trucks. And they can go to that one or the other one and keep filling and keep fighting the fires.
And this price it has all the stuff that you want, or is this like, we're gonna have to
No, this
then
is-
go
this
into,
is-
or is this just a base
It's a
truck?
pretty basic truck, but that's
Well, it's
all you need
very,
it for.
very functional and has new portable tanks on it, everything.
Yeah.
Because the portable tank size is gonna increase on it.
Yeah.
on
So what
they
is the
run.
cost then, once we get this truck to get you to where, the fire department to where, at roundabout of where you want it to be able to use it on a daily basis?
Zero.
Zero.
Oh, so
Yeah.
this is it?
Yeah, that's
You
it.
drive this, Oh, okay, I didn't know if
That's
we
it.
had to put like.
Nope,
different
everything that's on
things
there's
it.
on there.
Like, you buy your car and then you gotta put on different exhaust
No,
and
this
tires.
isn't like
Okay, I'm just.
You're so
No
used to
mag
change
wheels.
order, aren't you?
I get a lot of change
for
orders in my life,
apparatus.
so, okay.
These come,
This
these
is a
come
smaller
pre-made,
truck.
they've got all
You
the
need the
lights
truck.
and all the radios and things like that
Yeah.
already on them.
And this is four-wheel drive,
Correct,
where the old one's two-wheel.
correct.
Glidden right now is in the midst of purchasing another one that their last one is four-wheel drive, and Tom said it's really handy when they're out there in the areas where when they're
So when-
fighting fires.
When we're
Laverne, it's
rolling
more
this-
clearance.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
When we're rolling the backup, the secondary pump, tank truck, are we using that for like Carroll Fire jurisdiction, or are you using that only for mutual aid?
We use them both for either or. If Breda calls tomorrow, we run both of them.
So if Breda calls tomorrow for mutual aid, we're rolling our truck to
Our tankers.
Breda, our tankers.
Yep. Unless they want a pumper or something that they need help with, and then we would roll our,
They have tankers of their own that they're,
every department has tankers.
Right. And they roll to you too.
Yeah, yeah. Like when we were at they had that hog barn fire just south of Carroll out there at the Kennebec farm this year. I mean, you think about it, we had both of our tankers going, Glidden had their tankers going, Dedham had theirs going. I mean, that's just the amount of water that you're flowing. It takes tankers to move that water. And then after we had that big fire, Brian contacted us and said, hey, if you're ever in a pinch, he said he's sitting there with a semi-tanker that he keeps fully loaded with water also. He said, if you're ever in that predicament, he said, don't hesitate to call. So I
Well,
mean,
Brian, when it comes to cattle, let's keep them away from fires.
so I mean,
That's
the
a good
water
point.
volume that you go through, you remember 500 gallons a minute on a pump. I mean, a tanker holds 2,000 gallons. It's not gonna take
4
long. That's
minutes
why,
worth
and
of
again,
water.
you have a sequence of porta tanks set up. You may have 2-3 porta tanks all set up that you're transferring water to get it to the pumper that's pumping it. It's a scenario.
but there's not really anything wrong with this truck. It works.
It works.
It does the job. When are we replacing the tower truck? When is that
So
in
Aaron and I have
rotation?
talked about this. The tower's 20 years old. When it was out in Fremont this last fall, winter, spring, whenever it was, when they went through it, they were very happy with how it looked. I mean, we went through and we had them repaint, touch the ladder up where we were starting to get some chipping to make sure that it stays structurally sound. I don't foresee, I want to say we could probably get 40 years out of it, another 20. It's different than in the cities where they run these on every call. I mean, I think we've had it out of the garage this year, like on 3 calls so far. I think it's just it's an apparatus we need, but I don't think it'll wear out as long as we maintain the pump. In fact, they're scheduled to come out next month again to do the annual inspection on it, and they test everything when they go through it, so.
Dale, what's a ladder truck cost? Any idea?
Today, 2 million.
Let's get this tanker.
So ISO rating wise, these tankers help us with that because it helps our
Any of the
capabilities. If we
equipment,
lose
I mean-
tankers, then we lose some
Yeah, because when they
capability.
go through how the water that we flow, we just went through I think it was 4 years ago where they went to all the surrounding communities. They look at how much water can you get. They actually wanted times, how quick you got to this point from your point. They wanted to know, and it all helps improve your ISO rating when they're doing
It
that.
goes off hydrant flows, it goes off.
Yeah, pressure
water
on the- yeah.
systems.
So I don't know, some council members might not be aware, but our ISO rating, which is a 4, the lower your ISO rating, the better your homeowner's insurance gets within the community. The higher your ISO rating is, your insurance rating goes up, your homeowner's insurance goes up. So it's important to maintain your capabilities as a fire department.
So can you turn a tanker into a ladder?
For another 2
For 2
million.
million.
Well, no, I mean, you can make a tanker and a ladder, I guess,
No,
No.
the ladders are so
You're
heavy,
thinking like an
Jason.
engine truck has a tank inside.
I think our ladder truck currently only holds 500 gallons.
so I have a fire chief, so I trust him, so that's where I'm,
And if you fully extend the ladder and are gonna spray water, that's 500 gallons. It's real close. It won't even fill the chute to get it spray out without having a hydrant hooked to it.
That's a
It's-
5-inch pipe that goes
We all
under.
just learned something.
I'm
Yeah.
learning.
There's a lot of, there's a lot that goes to,
Huh, I didn't know there was that.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I'm only 8 months into this, so you know me, I'm always trying to contract something to save money, so.
So,
I think we're all your
We're-
questions.
Anybody else have a question
Yeah,
for
I do,
Dale?
but it's-
Okay, go ahead.
what fund are we taking this money out of?
Well, we would work with our financial advisor to do a debt issuance in 2026.
Okay, next, all right. 775 days from now, all right.
2020, we're in 2025, so that would be next
We've already
fiscal year
set the
debt,
levy for
yeah.
25, so it'd have to be 26.
Okay.
I'm just, I couldn't remember if it was next year or the
Okay,
following year.
I think you're good, Dale. Thanks very much for coming down.
this would also be one where, when the chassis comes in, we would have to pay for the chassis, and then when the truck is completed, you pay for the remaining of it, kinda like with the Rescue 7 that's coming.
Thanks for the education.
All right.
And what other big purchases do you have coming up, like in the next couple years?
This is it. I think our engine 9 is right now currently 5 years old, so I'm gonna say in 5 years, you know, we probably should look at moving engine 9 down, and engine 2 is a 1993 model. That one is currently, we use that one for rural fires, and that is our, like, if we were gonna run down to Schumacher's pit and pump out of the pit to fill tankers and stuff like that, is our transfer pump truck for that. So worst case, 5 years, if we wanna keep our main pumper at under 10 years or so, or right at 10-year turnaround.
Dale, do you ever see these days getting less and less? So he's talking 5 years, 3 years from now, we need to probably buy it or order it. Do you see these same changing?
Currently, not the way things are rolling.
Is this a post-COVID thing? I mean, is this just like one of those deals that just all of a sudden,
We used to be 1.5 to 2 years,
okay?
and now but it's influx of orders.
All right. All right, I'll look for a motion to approve the purchase of the water tanker fire truck from Toyn at their proposal price of $393,830, with the understanding that production year and emission changes could increase the price. Is there a motion? Tom motion, is there a second?
Second?
And second by Carolyn. A roll call vote, please.
Shrek? Yes. Bornero?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirk?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Thanks a lot for coming out. Yeah.
Thanks, Dale.
All right, we're moving on to Fairview Apartments for a report on that, and Dan.
So in your packet, you should have had the attachment with the photos that you saw of the one apartment that was completed, and then to what they're dealing with when they are renovating an apartment. There's quite a difference when they're looking at those. These guys are, when they're going through it, I mean, they're taking all the fixtures down, replacing the stools and the sinks and the drainage that goes through there, patching the holes in the walls, the ceilings, and then when they're refurbished, we were in the one the other day, they were just solely waiting to get the tubs caulked, and I believe the air conditioners, they had a mishap with the air conditioners for being replaced, so they had to reorder some.
They're leaving, Dan, just same window air conditioning like
Yep,
it had.
they're just
Okay.
upgrading, they've upgraded like the baseboard electric heats. It seemed like everything that they're doing, they're nice when they're done. I did have a conversation with Rick today after we met with JC, the guy that's doing all the work to the apartments, saying, and I don't think Dalton and him were on the same page, that when they get one done, they need to contact us so we can get in there and inspect them. So JC is he knows that now, so he's gonna call Rick and tell him when he's got one done so we can inspect it and get it done. Rick has contacted Dalton to get the previous ones that they have completed to get those scheduled, but we have not got an answer back on the time frame to get those
How many have
upgraded.
they completed?
Well, I think that last time he was here, they had 7, right? I think that's what they said, 7 were done.
Mention a goal of how fast they want them finished. He didn't, did he?
No,
No, that's what I thought. So, myself and a couple other council members are probably going to be in there meeting with J.C. I thought it was Jace. And, this week yet. Would you have any questions you would like us to ask them or anything specific you'd like us to look for while we're there?
no, I
We're gonna
don't.
basically do
Everything
what
that
you
we
did.
just did last week with him, I mean, I'm pretty confident, even what they're doing, I mean, they're working on them, and it's, for the most part, I think there's a couple guys, and Rick has said that he has seen a couple more than that, than just those 2 working.
There's
So it's-
4. They
yeah,
told me there
It's a
was.
slow process, I mean, and they're taking everything, I mean, it's the baseboards, it's the, trim around the windows, the repainting everything, like, and you can see through some of those pictures where the ceilings are cracked and the holes in the walls that people have put in there. I mean, it's atrocious what the people have done to those apartments.
And you've looked through all of it. It almost seems like there was not one apartment that was spared of this.
No.
Mess.
They're all about,
Gee
they're all just about like that, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And one of the comments I made to him was, it's like, when these people move out, they just walk away. They don't move anything out, they just walk away. So then they're stuck with cleaning everything out,
Yeah.
cleaning it, I mean, literally disposing of everything, so they're adding to their cost of disposal and everything. It's a bad. But from what I,
That's
like I
part
said.
of owning, that's part of owning an apartment complex. You
Yep.
gotta understand that different people have different circumstances and
Yep.
stuff like that, and so.
I just thought it'd be good that you could see a couple of the photos of the completed ones. They seem like they're very nice, so.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Anything else for Dan? We don't have to take any action on this. We're just taking a look at those photos, and as I said, we'll be down there, and I would encourage all of us to get down there and see those at some point. I have his contact number, and so do you. And I think it'll probably be Wednesday when we go down there, to take a look. All right, let's go. What else we got here? That's it.
Reports,
Just the reports.
committees,
Right.
or comments.
Committee reports are available, of course, in our packets. The mayor has no comments this evening. Do any city council members have a comment this evening to make?
I got one, just a 28E, we need to keep that in the back of our mind, coming from the supervisors meeting. I went to theirs, and we're anxiously, I guess, waiting.
Just to see what
their
they-
proposal to us as far as what we're gonna do, but I know there's 200 and, Marcia, do you know the number of
139 or something.
239 surrounding our county that I guess aren't happy with.
With how it is now.
How it is
Right.
now, and so,
Mhm.
we can all talk about it, whether we do it with them, the supervisors, or however we wanna do it. I just wanna make sure that everyone's kind of abreast of
Yep.
that is going on, and so we gotta play nice with our neighbors, obviously.
Yep, well, Marcy, it just can't be something that we fix in a day.
Yes.
Just bear with us and, all right. Thank you very much for that. Laverne, you wanted to say
Yeah,
something?
the rec center, Jill at the rec center gave me some updated numbers. This is just for data for us to know. As far as renting shelter houses, in the last 24 days, they've had 31 requests. So there is a need for more than what we have. And she'll keep giving this data. And she said, basically, when they call up, they want South Side because it's got heating and air conditioning. That's their first request, and they'll take Grand Park as a second.
Okay,
So I'm just giving you data for when we get to that point.
okay.
Laverne, was it brought up when we talked about this? I mean, just to throw this out there, when you wanna rent out at Swan Lake, you have to be there on a specific day and in line, in person to rent.
Tomorrow morning.
Is it tomorrow?
If you wanna rent tomorrow morning, you gotta be out there at 8 o'clock to get it,
For
otherwise
the
it's
next
booked.
year.
Yeah, for the
Like,
next
so if
year.
I
And
wanna
tomorrow
rent
is the
it-
day that they start for the next,
For next
for the
year.
next,
You can do it-
for August
Do
13th.
it a year in
Yeah.
advance.
Do it a year in advance, so you
So the
pretty much
day-
have to go be in line to.
And if there's
to
two
get that.
people there, then they're,
First in
it's a
line.
mess.
Rock, paper, scissors
Yeah.
to whoever gets it.
Okay, and
So if you look at this, in 24 days, there's 31 requests. We're not gonna affect you know, the county at all. I mean, there's a lot of requests for
Right.
everything, them and us.
Yeah, we're basing that on
There's
31
demand.
days in the summer, though. We gotta
It's
also see.
worse
We have to see
around
where it is.
graduation, she said.
Yeah, we gotta see where it is in the winter, because
Yeah.
there's, I
Well, I
mean,
mean,
it's.
I think that until we have something to
That's
base
why I'm
it,
giving you
to
these
compare
numbers.
it to.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really have anything to compare it to.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
A week ago, I asked for input in the paper, and interestingly, I got more comments than we normally do by asking for them. I'm going to send, with his permission, I received a letter from a young man named Colin Mowry, who's a new person in Carroll. He wrote an extensive 3-page note, and I'm gonna forward it to all of you. Well, Chad and you and all council members. It's an interesting read, getting the perspective of what someone with 2 little kids has in mind for the future of this town. So look forward to that. I'll forward it all to you, and I actually printed paper copies too, if you want one. It's just an interesting read, and I did just have more input than normal just by asking for it this time, and we don't usually, and this time I did. And I will say something else about the letters I received. There was not one person that suggested that we tear it down and do nothing. So to me, I have the sense that if someone hasn't come out by now and said this is the right thing to do, we don't need another one. I think the public is looking for something, at least replacing what's there, so. Okay, I would look, let's see, I think we've got everything taken
Yeah,
care of.
I've got it.
You've got
I
some
got one
comments?
thing.
All right, very good.
I've been, with the remodel of the apartment building there on the square, Adam Schweers is gonna do some concrete work to the rear and to his parking lot, and he would like to have the alley redone in between those 2 parking lots. His contractor wants to tie them all together, so it makes it a pretty comprehensive replacement.
Oh, it's, I don't mean to interrupt, but you're talking about the alley behind the
Yes.
old Carroll Medical Center and over by Curps.
Correct.
Which they own that parking lot on the Curps side.
The problem
They
with
do,
that
don't
is,
they,
is
or-
the
or not?
contractor's gonna be there on the 19th, and starting, obviously, today's the 12th, and our next council meeting's the 26th, so we can't necessarily vote on it, but a general direction I could take, and then we can bring it back to council on the 26th for a final approval if council wants to give me some direction on that.
What is he wanting?
He wants us to pay for the replacement of the alley concrete.
Oh, okay. Now, do they own the concrete on the other side of?
Both sides.
They own both the parking lot underneath the building. And then that parking lot that's next to Curps is all theirs.
No,
Yes.
half of it is.
Wow.
That's right, the half
Yes,
that's
but
on
the
this side,
babies-
and then there's those, I think there's a couple of sheds in the back that have covered parking. Is that part of this, do you know?
There's parking, no covered, it's wide open.
But
between
it's,
the bread store
it'd
and the
be, your
Kurt's
car would be
parking lot.
facing north instead of east and west. There's a few and whose parking lot is that then? Is that also Adams? You don't
can't
know, does
answer that.
anybody know?
Courtview Plaza has a parking lot back there
Okay.
between Curps and the bread store.
So I was just out there this afternoon, so obviously Court Street LLC, I think it is, right, it's called, has those buildings right there, and then there's that alleyway, and then you have Badings who have the Curps parking lot right there, and so
Right.
they got together and they said, hey, you do yours, I'll do mine.
Okay.
And now they're looking for the city to say, hey, can we go ahead and,
All right.
I guess, do ours? My
Okay, and that's
understanding was
what
And
there
it
was-
would still be their contractor doing it, which tends to be less expensive than if we're doing it.
Right, and I mean, I think a couple years ago, when Adam bought that building, he did come to the city
Yeah.
and request assistance and have conversation with us. I don't know that we ever took a vote, but I don't think that we ever told him no, that we weren't willing to assist
And-
in this.
Right, and I remember the problems, and now they've gotten worse. I think the cost of the alleyway is $31,000, and the total cost for him to do the parking is $100,000. And, yeah, you jogged my memory earlier, JJ, and I remember, because he bought the newspaper office too, that there's, and then there's parking underneath the Anmar building. And so what's happening is the drainage is a big problem. And so by slanting the driveway away and taking the water to the storm sewer, then it alleviates, the water problem is a big problem, in addition to the degradation. So, yeah, I don't know what happened, but I know, yeah, when Mike was here, he talked about the whole scope of his project, yeah.
I guess, and then legally, how does that look? Can we,
Can't make any vote
Council,
on it.
you can't make any decision tonight on this.
Oh. Right.
It's not on the agenda,
You're just looking for guidance whether we
Yeah,
want
And-
to help.
and whether this guidance is, I mean, it's not legal, whatever sort of guidance you want to give.
So whatever
There's-
Adam
there's no
chooses
vote.
to do, he brings to us next week and we choose to either.
You're gonna have to vote on it then.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't take any vote on anything tonight.
and then it would just
On
be-
this.
So we'll have to reimburse it at that point, I guess, right? It would be.
it could be
I don't know.
TIFed, couldn't it? I mean,
Well, it's not, no, because it's not a project that we have in the urban renewal area.
okay.
Randy, our alleys coming up here pretty soon on the urban renewal docket to get replaced, to fix, to repave, to make it look better, to
Patch.
accommodate business owners better.
I got one across the street, they're just asking for a friend.
Land, right?
But,
You know, you can do that in your January planning session.
but we could do that,
Yeah.
have a comprehensive alley program for the future. But then help improve this one.
So, I mean, I guess I would
Quicker.
suggest that if we can't really do anything, I mean, can they put it off for a week so that we can have a vote, or?
I
Because I
think-
want to help them out. There was an agreement made. I want to help them out. I just don't know if we legally now can.
Contractors are coming.
Yeah,
are
he
coming.
called me today about it and said they're starting to set up for it. So get ready for it, but, I mean, it's gonna bring a lot of increased value downtown. We're short housing, and he's doing this.
I think we all agree that we want to do it. We just don't know how at this point with this timeline, I guess, how, does anyone have a suggestion of how we do it?
You got it handled.
You could set up a
don't you?
special
You got an
meeting.
idea how
Well,
to.
If you have an- Okay, yeah, if you have an idea.
We
I
just
want-
need to
yeah.
make sure we're okay
Okay,
with doing
yeah.
something,
Yeah,
Well, you
well,
know,
that we want to help them out.
He just said it.
Yeah.
If he's starting construction when?
on the 19th of August.
Okay.
So when's that?
That's next
week
Monday,
from
week from
today.
today.
You can have a special meeting, make it legal.
Can we have like a special meeting like right now, or?
No.
Great idea.
48 hours, Jason.
Yeah, 24.
24 hours.
You have to have
My
a- you have
first
to-
year here, I was gonna scurry
you
on
have to
out of
have a-
here.
you have to have
Just
a-
get it done, you know?
You have
Maybe we
to,
could take Adam off the hook by having a special meeting if we're worried about that.
It's a small amount, it's reasonable.
It'd
for
take a
what
5-minute
he's
meeting.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm not against that if everyone feels that
We
you're
could do
willing to
it
do
Zoom too,
that.
couldn't we?
What's
well,
that?
we could do it sometime this week.
Like a Zoom,
Yeah.
so nobody has to.
Laura's
is that
so
too
excited
much,
now.
or is that too much?
What, okay.
No, I think it's more about just figuring out what day is gonna work.
Yeah, do you want me to,
Lunch.
a lunchtime at,
Adam will certainly understand
well,
what we're up against.
Tom's
It's-
always busy on
You gotta
lunchtime,
give-
but,
Yeah, about noon,
24
Tom,
hours
would that work?
notice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that ain't working for me.
What does work? 2? Is that
Anytime after 2.
anytime after 2? What day?
JJ, how about your time
Oh,
schedule in the afternoon?
But as long as it's not a district court day, I'm fine, so.
I just
I
set a
can't see
meeting.
this taking any more than 5 minutes.
How about 4 o'clock on
When?
Wednesday? You wanna do Wednesday? Okay,
Does that
I
work?
think that should work.
4?
4 o'clock, Wednesday,
Okay.
Right here.
right here.
Okay?
Same bat channel, same bat time.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no, it's at 4 o'clock.
So you'll post this.
With you,
Showing
agenda
my
out
age
tomorrow.
there, aren't I?
Yes.
Yeah, you'll have to
Right.
get out tomorrow. One item.
Okay,
All right. All right, how about a motion to adjourn? Thought I heard that. All right. Tom, Jason seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Atherton,
Yes.
Dirk,
Yes.
Schreck,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Cornell.
Yes.
We are adjourned.